Hi everyone! I think many of you would get nervous if they had a dosimeter go off in their house, because this could be a sign of radioactive contamination in your house. But what if radiation got emitted not by some object, but for instance by your guest or relative? And can a person live and even get healthier emitting large doses of radiation? Well, let's find out. Friends, as you know, science never stands still. It expands the horizons of knowledge and constantly changes our view of the world around us. The same principle is followed by OMAs. They specifically revise the approach to charity and organized a lottery, where the most active users have a great chance to receive the most unusual and cool gifts, such as meeting a celebrity or even a car. In doing so, OMAs has taken the hassle out of fundraising for non-profit organizations to help these communities focus on their direct activities. More than 150 million has already been raised this way. In 2021 alone, OMAs was able to support over 130 non-profit organizations, and about 6,500 people were able to make their dream come true. I myself am collaborating with OMAs. They're offering the chance to win a custom Tesla model as Apex and support a great cause, the Peterson Automotive Museum. The Model S paid the top of line, loaded with cutting-edge tech, and boasts about 400-mile driving range and can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 2 seconds. The Peterson Automotive Museum is a non-profit that explores and presents the history of the automobile and its impact on global life and culture, and your donation will help the museum extend its education programs, both outside and online, as well as aid museum in developing new exhibitions, community events, and funding programs such as Yellow Brick, a free program for teens and young adults interested in attending trade school. So for a chance to win a custom Tesla Model S Apex and support a great cause, the Peterson Automotive Museum, head to omaze.com/toysui and enter now. The experience closes on January 27th at 11:59 p.m. and I promise you don't want to miss it. It's worthy of note that before the discovery of radioactivity by Henry Becquerel in 1896 and the subsequent experiments conducted by Marie Curie and her husband, no one even knew about the treacherous side effects of high level of radiation, which were discovered only after the experiments with extracting radium from radioactive uranium ore. The thing is, radium chloride extracted from uranium ore emitted thousands of times more gamma rays than pure uranium, which is why Pierre Curie even burned his skin, wearing an ampoule with radium chloride in his pocket. Before that, such damage to the skin and other live tissues was done only during the use of X-ray tubes, which doctors tried to use to treat some kinds of cancer with long exposures to X-rays in the 19th century. As a result, it turned out that besides X-rays coming out of X-ray tubes, powerful bursts of gamma rays from small ampoules with radium can successfully damage cancer cells, thus making getting rid of the malignant tumors, which were becoming a serious medical problem even back in the 1920s, more likely. Thus, in the first half of the 20th century, radium became the principal radioactive source in treating some cancerous tumors, which is why the price of this metal started increasing rapidly. Besides radium, back then some doctors also tried to use such a radioactive gas as radon as a medicine for treating cancer, which is released during the radioactive decay of radium, which is also called radium emanation. But in reality, instead of treating cancer, inhaling radon can actually cause someone to get lung cancer. But in 1920s, people would turn anything into a business. Don't you know about the infamous ointments and rectal suppositories with radium, which were used as medicine back then? It resembles modern-day homeopathy, but that's not the point. Because of such business schemes, in early 20th century the use of radium for treating cancerous tumors was eventually discontinued and substituted with cheaper and more reliable radioactive sources, which I'm going to talk about in this video. The only problem is that even a whole day won't be enough to tell you about all the modern radiation therapy methods. That's why doctors from the North Estonia Medical Center and I decided to tell about the radiation therapy methods of treating prostate cancer, which is one of the most frequently occurring diseases in men. Hello, I'm Dr. Miksaratok, and today I'm going to talk about the treatment of prostate cancer. When one is suspected to have this disease, first a test is carried to see whether the patient has a prostate-specific antigen. If the test results indicate a high level of it, the patient is directed to a urologist, and additional tests are prescribed. Usually biopsy and MRI are among the most frequently prescribed tests that show the precise location of the tumor. If all the tests indicate that the patient has the disease, then an additional examination in a positron emission tomography machine is carried out that allows to identify the size of the tumor and whether or not it has spread to lymph nodes. At this stage, I'd like to tell you more about PET-CT scanning, because a rather unusual and radioactive chemical is used in such scanning, which is fluorodeoxyglycose. Its molecules are similar to those of regular glycose. What makes them different though is that one hydroxyl group is substituted with a radioactive fluorine-18. Because the half-life of this isotope is just 109 minutes, it loses its radioactivity quite quickly. This is why before scanning, it's delivered by planes from laboratories where it's synthesized in cyclotrons. After receiving a container with a radio solution of the medicine, it's delivered to the laboratory that has massive doors that protect from radiation using a lift. Like the doors, the radioactive fluorine-18 preparation is also encased in thick walls made of lead and tungsten, protecting from radiation, because the container with the medicine emits a quite powerful stream of gamma quanta. These gamma rays are formed in a rather unusual way. The thing is, when fluorine-18 decays, it releases antiparticles, namely positrons, which are analogues of electrons that cannot exist for a long time, because on their way out on the atom core, they collide with electrons, and this process produces a rather rare phenomenon called annihilation. During this process, positrons and electrons turn into pure energy in the form of two gamma quanta, diverging linearly with the energy of about 0.5 MeV. And it is this energy that is used in PET detectors. In order to do positron emission tomography scanning, a syringe with a thick tungsten case gets filled with a radioactive preparation with the help of a special device, which automatically fills it with the right amount of the preparation for each patient, taking into account how much of fluorine-18 has decayed from the start of the day. As soon as the needed volume has been measured out, the syringe in a special protective case is used to inject the preparation into the patient's blood circulatory system, making that person quite radioactive for some time. After that, the patient is asked to sit for about an hour, in order for the radioactive drug, marked with radioactive fluorine, to get absorbed by the various organs, including cells of cancerous tumors. Because their metabolism is much faster than that of regular cells, cancer cells accumulate most of that very fluorine-18, releasing gamma quanta. In order to see where those very radioactive cancer cells are located, a patient is sent into a PET-CT scanning machine, which first performs computer tomography, that is scanning with X-rays, and then positron emission tomography is done. During it, multiple detectors detect gamma quanta diverging linearly in a particular motion in order to precisely detect the exact location of the tumor for its further treatment. The radioactive fluorine in the preparation quickly decays in the body, and kidneys remove its vestiges from the body. That is why this process is absolutely safe. At the end of the scanning, a doctor gets something like a 3D model, and he makes further decisions on the patient's treatment based on it. Chemotherapy along with radiation therapy is one treatment option. However, it's not radium that is used in radiation therapy, but rather its more modern particle accelerators, which are built in a quite interesting way. The procedure itself looks quite simple. and it's completely pain-free for the patient. First, a patient lies on a special table, and then an accelerator is turned on from a control room, and it irradiates the cancerous tumors from all sides with the help of powerful streams of gamma rays. Such a linear particle accelerator works on the same principle as an old TV cathode ray tube combined with a microwave oven. Yes, you heard it right. This is exactly how it is, but it's better to look at it in more detail. In order to accelerate some particles, first they need to be obtained, and for this purpose there is a special electric gun in this device that emits a stream of electrons, like in an old cathode ray tube TV. After that, flying electrons, accelerated by a magnetron similar to the one you have on your microwave oven, reach a speed that is thousands of times greater. At the same time, electrons flying at nearly the speed of light get focused in one spot. After that, they flow along special channels and bump into a tungsten target. Collision of electrons with a highly dense metal produces high-energy photons of gamma quanta that are used to irradiate cancerous tumors. Special tungsten sheets called MLC that move constantly following rotation of the accelerator control the amount of the dose and its form. As you may have guessed, these processes are automatic and are controlled by powerful processors that come with accelerators. Besides, before a radiation therapy is performed, a computer simulates every stage of radiation, mapping out the radiation process for every patient. Thus, doctors can irradiate the needed tissue very precisely, causing minimum damage to healthy organs, because the stream of gamma rays is quite strong. To measure the radiation level, I even place 2 dosimeters under the stream, and after that I leave the room, because it's not safe to be there during the emission of radiation. Just look at the door ceiling of the procedure. I was told that they even have neutron protection. That's why things are taken seriously here. When the accelerator was turned on for several seconds, one of my detectors shows that the radiation level was 400 microsieverts. This strong radiation even created matrix artifacts in my camera as a result of gamma quanta hitting the matrix. It's interesting how a higher dose caused a delay in the reading of the second dosimeter. Evidently it didn't like such strong radiation released by the working accelerator. By the way, later physicists from the hospital told me that in fact the level of radiation directly under the beam of the accelerator should be 1000 times higher, that is about 400 sieverts, but my dosimeters are not designed to measure such pulse radiation, and they simply choked from this. After that, I was also told that parts of the device also became radioactive as a result of the strong streams of gamma quanta, but still, in spite of all dosimeter readings, nowadays such accelerators are irreplaceable in the treatment of different kinds of cancer, because they can irradiate cancer cells highly carefully and precisely, thus destroying their DNA, which is what causes them to die. For now, only this method of tackling cancerous tumors, or rather destroying them, leaving healthy tissue intact, is used in modern medicine. Besides irradiation with an accelerator and chemotherapy, there is yet another interesting method of radiation treatment of prostate cancerous tumors, called brachytherapy. In this treatment, special radioactive seeds are placed inside the organ. Small iodine-125 isotope capsules are used as such seeds. As the radioactive iodine decays, it releases a rather mild gamma radiation of about 35 kV, and it has a half-life of 60 days. During a special surgery, such capsules are inserted into the needed organ, and they stay there for the rest of the patient's life, because they don't do any harm once the radioactive iodine has decayed. This method is also called low-dose rate brachytherapy, because the radiation dose of such seeds is rather small, and it allows to pinpoint and irradiate the cancerous tumor, not harming the surrounding tissue. Besides iodine-125 capsules, there is one more unusual method of treating cancer, which is high-dose rate brachytherapy. A patient under general anesthesia also undergoes a special surgery. During this process, a special probe is inserted through a catheter right into the center of the tumor, and on the tip of this probe there is an ampoule with a highly strong gamma radiation source, iridium-192. The size of this source is slightly bigger than that of a match head. However, you can notice then when it leaves the thick tungsten case of the device, the dosimeter detects a sudden increase in the radiation level, reaching up to 5 millisieverts per hour, which is pretty high level. Don't worry, there wasn't any more in the room at that moment, because no one is allowed to remain in the operating theater during working with the probe, and all procedures with it are performed remotely. During the shooting, I was shown the process of probe calibration that is done every morning in order for the probe with the radioactive source not to miss the needed part of the tumor, even by a millimeter, and for it not to irradiate vital tissue. There is a good reason to do that, because the radioactivity of this tiny source is a whopping 10 curies, which is tens of times higher than the radioactivity of radium, which is a million times more radioactive than natural uranium. I'm wondering how thought out safety measures are around a device with a radioactive probe. If the rope breaks off, or God forbid if it falls out of the device, there is always a heavy lead container placed nearby, and there is even a manual tool for pulling the probe back inside to prevent excessive irradiation of the medical personnel as well as the patient. However, if all the previously mentioned treatment methods haven't produced good results, or the patient has metastasis, or in other words newly spread tumors, then the entire body needs to be irradiated with the help of stronger preparations, for instance the ones containing isotope lutetium-177. In the periodic table, lutetium is located at the end of the lanthanide series and is a quite active and rare metal. There are only two isotopes of this element in nature. One of them is stable and the other is the radioactive, which is why this piece of metallic lutetium emits radiation, which you can see well if I bring a dosimeter close to it. But still, this weak radiation isn't enough to treat cancerous tumors. That is why a radioactive isotope of natural lutetium is extracted from it and it's hit with the neutrons in nuclear reactors. Thus, a new isotope is formed, called lutetium-177. If atoms of the obtained radioactive lutetium are attached to the atoms of the needed medicine that is able to stick cancer cells, then such a tandem will irradiate cancerous tumors highly effectively inside the human body, at the same time not causing serious damage to the healthy tissues. Lutetium dotatate is one example of such a preparation. It has recently been approved for treating cancer in Europe and the USA, because of the short half-life of lutetium-177 of just 6 days. The drug is delivered on the day of the procedure by plane in a special protective container, which lowers the radiation level to the level of natural background radiation. There is a lead case inside the container with an ampoule filled with the preparation. Its radioactivity is quite high, that's why all laboratory workers put on special protective lead suits before working with it. In the laboratory, workers first measure the radioactivity of the obtained preparation in order to see how much lutetium has decayed, to make sure everything is okay. Without the protective box, the radiation level will grow significantly, because it is not only beta electrons that are released during the decay of lutetium, but gamma quanta also get released, and only thick lead glass can protect from them. After carrying out an examination, laboratory workers fill a syringe with the needed amount of the radioactive preparation, filling it with some air first, because the preparation inside is under lower pressure. During the process, there was a small setback. There formed an air bubble inside the syringe, which is why it could not be filled with the needed amount of the liquid. Fortunately, the experienced laboratory workers quickly fixed the problem, and in the meantime, I had time to measure the radiation level with my dosimeter. When working with such radioactive chemicals, you have to be extremely careful and make sure that not a drop of the preparation is spilled and contaminates clothes or the working space. After another test of the radioactivity, the syringe and the container are placed in a lift that delivers them to the floor where the patient boards is. Before injecting the preparation itself, a patient is first given an intravenous infusion of special amino acid solution that protects kidneys from the highly strong radiation, because lutetium dotatate is mainly removed from the body through kidneys. Just like everyone else in the patient's ward, I was given a special protective suit that protects from the excess gamma radiation. Once all the preparations have been completed, the patient is infused with the needed amount of the lutetium preparation with the help of a special device that slowly pushes out the syringe content in order for the radioactive chemical to enter the body gradually. At this time, all my dosimeters detected a high radiation level of background radiation because of the high radioactivity of lutetium preparation. It's worthy of note that when the preparation was being introduced into the patient's circulatory system, the radiation level will drop, which indicates that the human body absorbs gamma rays quite well. After injecting all the liquid from the syringe, the patient then undergoes a scan, which shows whether or not the preparation has spread through the whole body. 1 day later, the patient undergoes another scan, and then one more in 1 week, and then one more in 2 weeks, in order to monitor removal of the preparation from the body, as well as where it accumulates. It's worthy of note that nowadays lutetium preparations are used for treating 2 types of cancer. The first type is a rather rare kind of tumors that forms from endocrine cells of the digestive system. They get irradiated by lutetium dotatate during radiation therapy, which I showed you earlier. Besides this, there is also so-called lutetium PSMA. Its molecules precisely locate rapidly spreading prostate cancer cells and bind with them, thus irradiating only prostate cancer cells, leaving other cells alive. Moreover, because of the short half-life of lutetium preparations, they not only fight cancer effectively, but they also quickly lose their radioactivity and get removed from the organism, which increases the likelihood of the patient's recovery. But it's a pity that there is only one company that is licensed to sell lutetium preparations in the European Union and the USA. The company name is Novartis. It's an international pharmaceutical corporation with headquarters in Switzerland. Because of this, the price of 1 dose of lutetium preparation can exceed 20,000 euros. That's why not all patients can afford such a costly treatment. But still, in spite of the high price, modern-day radiation therapy is very likely to succeed, and when combined with the chemotherapy, it gives patients a chance to make a full recovery and live on much longer. So, I think after watching this video, you will know more about radiation therapy and how it works. And also, if you want to see more science videos like this one, please support my channel on Patreon, link in the video description. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see many more new and interesting